A very good afternoon to all of you. All of you look pretty dry and rested here. I am the co-founder and CEO at Product.io. We are a Cambridge-based company. For those of you who are not from UK, it's about a 45-minute ride north of here. About 100 plus staff. We've been around for roughly 3 years. Till date, we've published about 38 papers, filed about 9 patents. And the areas that we operate in are all the way from logistics to finance and asset management and education. The first part of my talk is really going to be about focusing on human-machine teaming and how the real-world applications happen. And Lauri, Vaittinen, my colleague from Mandatum Life, is going to follow on and specifically talk about more in detail around asset management. But before I go any further into my talk on human-machine teaming and real-world applications of AI, I would like to start from how Europe can lead in AI and machine learning. So the first thing we need to do in Europe in order to lead the AI and machine learning revolution that's coming along is to start by believing in ourselves. If you look at the news over the last 12 months and you read the books and the popular press, it would have you believe that somehow we are in some sort of a bipolar world in which there is a clash of civilizations happening between the US on one side and China on the other, whereas the rest of us in the middle are just waiting around helplessly to see who wins and then see what we do. The question is, really? Now, the combined population of China and US is 1.7 billion people, which we all know is a lot of people. But that leaves about 6 billion of us in the middle. And we aren't really hanging around, twiddling our thumbs, waiting for something to happen. And a good illustration of this is the graphic that was posted just before NeurIPS, which is arguably the most prominent AI and machine learning conference in the world, that showed, as per the first author affiliations, the number of papers published. And rightfully so, the top 5 are very large and respected technology companies in the US. But at number 6, highlighted here for ease of reading, is a small company in Cambridge, namely Product.io, which is not doing too badly. Now, we have to look at these results in the context of the investments and the efficiency of technology development. So let's look at this graph from a slightly different angle. So what we see here is that per dollar spent, we, as a European company, are orders of magnitude more efficient than any other company out there. And that's what we in Europe are really good at, building efficient solutions. And specifically, this will have a major implication on the future of AI and machine learning, where efficient ability to learn with small amounts of data will define the success of the next generation of companies in AI focused on real-world problems, like asset management, logistics, and so on and so forth. And we'll come to that in a bit. So one of the reasons, what this really shows us that size does not really guarantee success. There's a lot more to success than just mere size. So one of the reasons why all of us here in the audience, and I'm sure all of you have some sort of a smartphone of a type, are able to fly around anywhere in the world, flip the phone out of your pocket, and make a phone call, and your phone works everywhere, is down to the fact that in the 1980s, European governments and European companies decided to work together to build the GSM standard. The AI and machine learning industry today reminds me of the 1980s of the mobile industry, where there was a huge amount of fragmentation, both in terms of technology and interoperability. So for AI to really reach its full potential, we need some sort of standardization so that we can avoid all this wasteful work that we keep doing on and on and on. So what we really need is something that I like to call the global system for AI. So there was the global system for mobile communications, and what Europe needs now is a GSAI, or the global system of AI and machine learning. We definitely have the talent, we definitely have the ideas, and we most definitely have the culture to do that. So for Europe to succeed together with the right will and the right effort, there is no reason why we could not lead in AI and machine learning. Shifting gears a little bit, and let's move on to human-machine teaming and the real-world impact of AI. So one of the key questions that we ask ourselves at Prowler.io, that if AI and machine learning is not going to help you make better decisions, what's the point? So that's our starting point. If you read the popular press, they talk about 3 big waves of AI. And the first one being about a numerical input. I remember my days from being a high school student in India where in order to do log tables, I used to have a thick book. How many out here who've ever used log tables in a book? Oh, okay, so somebody have definitely suffered. So when I went to the university, I was handed my first scientific calculator, and it was pure magic, right? As far as I was concerned, it was very intelligent. Are you guys able to hear me over the rain? Is all right? Yeah. The second wave of AI has been all about perception, categorization, and made possible by the good work that happened with deep neural nets. Now, that's all well and good if the focus is to do classification of family photographs, take out your cats and dogs out of the photographs and see how many there are, or if you are interested in board games and video games and so on and so forth. But when it comes to real-world mission-critical applications, time and again, we have seen that deep learning simply doesn't work. So that's what brings us to the third generation. We are right now at the dawn of the third wave of AI, which is all about making decisions. Decisions that can improve the efficiency of companies, of corporates, improve resource allocation. And at Prowler.io, we pride ourselves in being a decision company. Our goal is to ensure that businesses are powered by businesses are powered by people and empowered by AI. And to that end, we focus our energies, do our research, and that guides us every day. So what kind of decisions does our AI enable? In the finance industry, we do asset management, but I'll leave Lauri to talk about that. In terms of logistics, we work with our customers who manage hundreds of millions of assets every day, and we are helping them save tens of millions of dollars in terms of improved efficiency. Now, that benefit is just from the bottom line. But the byproduct of that is that significantly less resources are being used, and thereby also reducing the carbon footprint of our customers massively. And that's important. With our customers in education, they are working with us to roll out new products, which will make personalized education much better. There'll be a lot of announcements coming in the third and the fourth quarter of this year on that, so stay tuned. When we talk to our partners in the industry and our customers, one point that keeps coming up is that while there's been a lot of talk about explainability of AI over the past 12, 18 months, they keep telling us that explainability is not enough. What they want is AI that can be trusted to work inside an enterprise environment and not go wrong to start with in the first place. So in other words, we need to build AI solutions and AI platforms that go hand in hand in building trust inside the organizations. I'm not sure how many of you have read Rachel Botsman's book about technology and trust, but I would really recommend that. And there's a very interesting quote from there in which Rachel says that trust is not a nicety, a kind of an optional extra. Our very lives depend upon it. Similarly, inside enterprises, real jobs, real people, real families depend upon us ensuring that AI-enabled systems can be trusted. So it's very important to incorporate that into your design from day one rather than have that as a bolt-on separately. So that gets us to a point of what is trust. According to the Cambridge English Dictionary, for obvious reasons, I couldn't use the Oxford Business Dictionary out here. To trust is to believe that someone is good and honest and will not harm you, and that something is safe and reliable. And this has to be a key part of the design that we do for our systems. In order to build systems that can be trusted and be relied on, the AI within the system should be able to answer the following 4 questions. How does the AI know that it's right? How does the AI know that it's wrong? How does the AI know that it's going to go wrong? And how do we trust our AI to even ask the right questions? The reason why our customers trust us is that we always start by focusing on the business problem and agreeing on common KPIs. And after that, because the solutions that we have built don't require millions upon millions of data points, but can already get to very effective decisions with hundreds or even tens of data points, allows for getting us to answers fairly quickly. Sorry, I think I clicked too fast or something didn't go right. So allows us to get to the answers very quickly. And the other bit that we really focus on when we talk to our customers is that we don't overpromise. We focus on our strengths. We focus on ensuring that what we are building is well explained within the organizations, that it's well trusted through a strong human-machine teaming factor. And a key element of our technology stack is that to make sure that our AI is able to fully understand its own incompetence. And that's key because there's going to be lots and lots of scenarios in daily operations of any company where it's absolutely critical for the AI to understand its incompetence and hand over control to the humans without anything going dramatically wrong. Be it the financial markets, be it the future autonomous car that you're driving, may it be the autopilot in aircrafts or any of those use cases. It is really fundamental to any execution of the platforms. And to give you some of the examples on the kind of benefits we've had for our customers over the last few months with our trusted systems is in logistics. We've been able to reduce the failed pickups for a very large logistics customer by about 75%. We've been able to improve the asset allocation by 17% and the number of trucks required in a fleet by about 15%. And these are all massive numbers resulting in potentially tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of savings for our customers. But the important point is even bigger, that not just we are improving the top line, the bottom line of our customers, but we are really showing businesses that they can continue to thrive and grow by using much fewer resources than they had ever planned, and also having much lower carbon emissions. So this is really the impact that having a trusted and explainable business brings to the world of business. And with that, I'd hand over to Lauri, who has some really good stuff to say how they're using our platform. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vishal.
Hi.
Thank you. Terrific presentation. Let me ask you a question, Vishal.
Yeah.
You're the chief exec of Prowler.io. What's the biggest decision facing you as you take the company through this next 12 months?
So where to have our next international headquarters?
There is only one answer, Vishal. It's London Tech Week. Where are you trying to choose between?
So we've been talking to a few governments, and they've been inviting us to open their offices. I hope I'll be able to make an announcement over the next 2-3 months.
Okay, well, those rose petals over there are from London and Partners, who will welcome you later. Vishal, thank you so much. Fantastic. Our next guest knows a thing or two, thank you, Vishal, about extreme weather, all the way from Helsinki. For those of you who don't already know, Mandatum Life is one of Finland's most respected financial services providers. It has over 300,000 individual and over 20,000 business customers, and I'm delighted to say that Lauri Vaittinen is here to present. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Lauri.
Thank you. So after Vishal, I'm the boring insurance guy. Come from Finland, as I said, from Mandatum Life, which is part of Sampo Group. Not sure if any of you know actually Sampo Group here. No, that's what I expected. But we are the largest insurance group or financial group in Nordics, 7th largest in Europe, and actually 22nd in the world. So there is fairly sizable business in this area in Finland. And I'm today talking about the sort of more asset management side. So we are doing both asset management for our own balance sheet, but also for external clients. And why I am here is that we are doing cooperation with Prowler, so we are building sort of the next generation AI-driven statistical models and products based on that. So how I think how the sort of quant investing is developing, I think it's a certainty that many of the models, processes that nowadays are driven by human-built models, they will be replaced by AI. And if you think of, for example, even nowadays, all the millions of amateur traders using different type of graphics tools to do technical analysis, that is one example of statistical analysis where human tries to build a model and tries to make a profit out of it in a fairly sort of efficient market, or actually nowadays super efficient markets. And if you think of that process, how sort of ridiculous it is that a single human in an efficient market could make systematically profit out of that type of process compared to where the AI is already nowadays. And even if you think of the huge hedge fund industry is where there's sort of trillions of euros, dollars managed with actually still mostly human-built algorithms, statistical models. And actually, large part of that, let's take, I'm not sure how many of you know trend following. It's a fairly common hedge fund strategy where you try to identify trends out of the market, which is called momentum investing or trend investing. Most of those models are still, they base their origins somewhere in 80s, 90s, and most of the hedge funds actually still use, large part of their models are based on those sort of 30-year-old models. And actually, you can replicate the average of those hedge funds who run actually on average several hundred billions of euros. Based on those models, you can replicate the performance of those hedge funds with fairly simple, very simple statistical models. And if you think of that, for me, it's a no-brainer that those models will be replaced by more sophisticated models. Of course, there are nowadays very sophisticated hedge funds that have millions or hundreds of millions to invest into technology, but still most of those technology is today run by human statisticians or quant analysts. And that's why I think it's super interesting to cooperate with a house like Prowler and actually to try to develop the sort of next generation trading systematic models. So how we do is that actually we bring the sort of more traditional background to it. So we provide all the execution, the expertise on these more traditional type of models that we have been running internally and also been investing into various hedge fund systematic strategies for tens of years. But what we say that is the starting point, and then with the help of Prowler to try to improve those models. And at least so far, actually, we have seen similar type of improvements as Vishal showed in the logistics. We can see that it's fairly easy with AI to improve the models. But of course, what is the most important thing is actually what Vishal opened up on how Prowler is working. That is both you need to have sort of understandable AI, you have to have a transparent AI, but also you have to have AI that you can work alongside with human models. So actually, how we see it when we're doing this cooperation, that we have been able to actually understand what the AI is doing. What we would never do is that we would plug in our execution, let's say, to some Watson AI and give it sort of free hands to trade whatever it wants. But what we want to actually to say that this is the starting point, this is the trading model that we want to improve, and then we see what are the improvements that the AI does, and do they make sense or not. And we start from the pure statistical models that actually in the first place you can say, because they are human-built statistical models, that it's completely different from having, let's say, a model that has some sort of economic rational valuation model is different thing than a statistical model that is based on price patterns. So we see this as a sort of optimal combination and an optimal company to work with, because we have been able to understand how the models have been improved, and we are already sort of in a production phase internally running these AI powered models, and we are going to actually introduce first products based on this AI improvement very soon. So we are very excited on the cooperation, and at the moment, even for regulatory reasons, I don't have any more details about it, but it's very exciting project and a bit on an abstract level, but very nice been working with the company now for 2 years or so. So that's about it very shortly what I was about to say, but in the speaker session I can tell you more details if you're interested on that.